Yeah, what's happening? What's happening with it? Y'all already know what it is. You tuned in to another episode of Everything Boxing. Dago talking that boxing again. What's happening with y'all? What's happening with y'all? Yeah, we're going to talk some boxing today for sure. Y'all already know as you come in the building, make sure that you jump in the comments. Let me know you're in the building and smash on the like button if you could for me. See who we got in the building. Shower Allah, salute to you, Queen. AJ64, what's happening with it? Devin Bell, what it do? Specs in the building. What's happening with it? Just do what it do. What's happening with you? Yeah, we definitely finna cook today. It's a lot to talk about. A lot been going on in boxing. So, I want to get on here and chop it up with y'all. What's happening with it? Our mouths straight from that Alabama. Kevin Stenhouse, what's happening with it? Salute. So, yeah, I definitely want to come on here and cook with y'all today. Talk some of this boxing. Yeah, you already know, just do. We don't do none of that around here. None of that narrative pushing and none of that, just straight, authentic and real. Sweet Tea, what's going on, Queen? Dank Father, what's happening with it? Battle Man, a battlefield boxing in MMA. What's happening with it? Man, I see the MMA on the back of your name. Hey, the brothers, man, we took some L's. I don't know if you a brother, but I'm just saying it was bad for the brothers this past weekend in MMA. Because we didn't do nothing but take L's that whole night. It was bad. But we'll bounce back. Dale Deloach, what's happening with it? Real Spill Midwest Boxing Talk, what's happening with it? My man, Omega Red in the building. What it do, Omega? And y'all make sure that y'all smash the like button for me one time. Yeah, so and like I said, it's been a lot going on in boxing. PLG Ski, what's happening with it? It's been a lot going on in boxing in the Alicia Baumgardner situation. I heard everybody speak on the Alicia Baumgardner situation, and I didn't really speak on it. I really didn't speak on it. I was trying to basically wait to get more information on the situation. I didn't really want to jump out and get on her helmet because I'm still not going to do that. But, we got to keep the same energy for everybody. I do understand that. But her situation is a lot more complicated, right? I've seen a lot of people trying to say, oh, yeah, that explains why she's so muscular. She's been like that her whole life. If you go back and look at pictures when she was a little kid, she had biceps like a grown man then. So I'm pretty sure she wasn't 10 years old taking steroids. So, I see a lot of people using that, to try to explain why she's so cut up and stuff. But man, that whole situation is complicated. I heard that her sample, like her piss sample was held at somebody's house. I've been hearing that all type of shit. But then the crazy thing about it is she took 2 tests after her fight, and they were both negative. So I don't know, man. You know, I don't know. She don't seem like the type of person that'll try to use PEDs to cheat. And then when I look at her camp, you know, Tony Harrison and them guys that used to be in the Crunk gym, and she getting trained by Harrison, I don't see nobody in her camp doing no shit like that either. So it's a complicated situation, you know. I really don't know what to say about it. You know, the only thing I can say is that we just got to wait to see what happens. You know, we got to wait for more information to come out and see what happens. I know the last lady that she fought, Christina Leonardo, she using that shit and she running with it. Now she's trying to basically make it like, you know, the only thing that Alicia Baumgardner had over me from the first time that she fought is she was a lot more stronger this time. So she's saying now it all makes sense. So she's using that as a reason why Baumgardner beat her, because she's saying that, you know, the PEDs made her stronger and that was the difference in the fight. Well, that ain't what I saw. I saw Baumgardner's boxing skills and her ability beat Leonardo, and that was the difference in the fight. But like I said, man, I don't know if 100% that she didn't do it. I don't know 100% that she did do it, but we just got to wait and see. That's basically, you know what I'm saying, how I feel about that situation. But when you got somebody like Dillian White that's a repeat offender, of course, when you hear that Dillian White test positive, you're supposed to jump on his helmet. You're supposed to jump on his helmet as soon as you hear, because he got a history of doing this shit. I believe he has a history all the way back to kickboxing. He was testing positive in kickboxing. You feel me? So we know Dillian White been on PEDs. We're still trying to figure out what happened to his B sample. And ain't it crazy that all of these fighters that's with Matchroom, they popping up dirty? It's all these Matchroom fighters. I remember some years ago, back when Anthony, and I messed with Anthony Joshua. I messed with Anthony Joshua heavy, right? I remember back some years ago, back when Anthony Joshua was, you know, in talks back and forth, and everybody wanted him and Wilder to fight when that fight was at an all-time high. I remember at that point in time, it was a big rumor going around that Anthony Joshua had a like some type of exemption to be on PEDs, to be on you know, PEDs back then, and he never denied it. And of course, he's a Matchroom fighter also. Yeah, testosterone exemption. Yeah, so I mean, he never denied it. He's a Matchroom fighter also. So Matchroom and their fighters, they have a history of this. And it seems like that most of the time they get away with it. You know what I'm saying? It seems like that Eddie Hearn has some shit in place to most of the time. His top fighters get away with it. So that's something that they need to be looking into. Real talk. They really need to be looking into that shit with Matchroom boxing. So, you know, that's a situation that a lot of people was talking about making videos on, and I just kind of stayed away from the Alicia Baumgardner situation because, you know, I honestly want to sit back and see what happens. You know, she got a B sample coming back. We're going to see what the B sample tests. And like I said, it was just weird to me that she had 2 other tests and they were all negative. So I don't know. And like I said, I honestly got to do more research on all the ins and the outs with the whole situation surrounding Alicia Baumgardner, because I was able to catch some of KQKC Boxing Network, and I think he was saying something like that. The doctor that took the sample had her sample at his house, had her piss sample just sitting at his house for a long period of time. So I got to read up on that and find out more about that. Yeah, but anyway, like I said, it's a whole lot boxing. It's a whole lot going on in boxing. Make sure that y'all smash the like button. They ain't really sending my notifications out like that today, I can tell. But make sure that y'all smash on the like button and so whatever notifications that they do send out, we can get more. Hold on, y'all. And shout out to the Fight Doctor. What's happening with it? Cool CJ. What's happening with it? Real Spill Midwest. What it do? Kevin Stenhouse. PLG Ski. I think I already shouted you out. Dead Game Boxing. What's happening with it? What it do? Yeah, Big Baby Miller. He's another one that's Oh, yeah, you're right. No, so yeah, Big Baby Miller was in kickboxing, right? But a lot of people don't know that Dillian White, he was also a kickboxer too. So Dillian White came from that background also too. Not just Big Baby Miller. And Dillian White, he also tested positive early on back in his kickboxing days. So, him and Big Baby Miller, they got a lot in common. Him and Jermell Miller got a whole lot in common if you really think about it. Aiden, what's happening with it? Roxanne, what it do? So, man, let's move forward and talk about some other things that's going on in boxing. You know what I'm saying? Let's move forward a little bit. I'm gonna touch on this Devin Haney situation until more people get in the building. So let's touch on the Devin Haney situation a little bit. Regis Prograis, he been vocal. You know what I'm saying? He been vocal. And I've been really looking at this whole situation, right? And a lot of things don't add up to me when it comes to this Devin Haney, and Regis Prograis fight. Now, Regis, his problem is he's saying, look, man, I signed a date, right? They gave me a contract. I signed a date. The date that I signed was a mid-November date, right? He says, I signed a mid-November date. Now, on Devin Haney's end, right, before Regis Prograis let everybody know that he signed to fight Devin Haney in mid-November, Devin Haney, when they was going back and forth on the internet, Devin Haney, he came out and he said some shit like, oh, I'm trying to work things out with your boss, Eddie Hearn, right? We trying to get the venue secure, and we trying to get the venue secure and everything. And then he comes back and he says, something like, you dummy, why would you want to fight on the same day as Tyson Fury? Right? So Devin came out and he tried to make it like that Regis Prograis, right, was complaining because of the date. But the date that they had was the same date as the Tyson Fury fight, which is like October the 28th, right? And so when I heard Devin say that, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't make sense for them to fight on the same day as Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou, right? But when Regis came out and said that the date that he signed for was in November, mid-November, then I'm like, what is Devin Haney talking about? Why is Devin trying to make it like that they're trying to propose a fight on the same day as Tyson Fury? When Regis Prograis is saying that he signed for a fight date in mid-November. You see what I'm saying? It's not making sense. And then Regis, he coming out and he's saying that Devin is having cold feet, that he trying to kind of making excuses to get out of the fight, which I don't know if it's true. I don't know if that's true. But one thing I do know, it's always some drama before Devin Haney fights. It's always some drama inside the contract. Every time that Devin Haney has a fight, right, or supposed to have a fight coming up, it's always some drama before the fight is finalized. It's either Bill Haney coming out and saying that the fight ain't, that's not who they fight, that the fight ain't signed, sealed, and they, you know what I'm saying, they can go off and fight Tank. You feel me? Usually it's Bill Haney saying, oh, no, that ain't true. You know what I'm saying? They announced that Devin Haney got a fight with whoever coming up, whether it was Kambosos, whether it was Vasil Lomachenko, and usually it's Bill Haney coming and doing a grip of interview saying that ain't true. We can still go off and fight Tank Davis. But whatever it may be, it's always some drama behind Devin Haney. You don't never get, yeah, we signed the contract and the fight is going to happen, you know, on this day. It's never just nothing plain and clear. It's always rumors and then a whole bunch of bullshit that follows it. I'm not lying. You know what I'm saying? Go back and check every time Devin Haney have a fight. Even back with the Gamboa fight, right? When they already had agreed to Gamboa, then the whole Gary Russell Jr. thing came up and they was going back and forth with that, and then he pop up and next thing we find out he fighting Gamboa. Who else? Even with the fight with what's the dude? Jorge Linares, right? Even with Jorge Linares, right? Rumors have surfaced that they already had basically agreed to fight Jorge Linares. That deal was basically already done. And then Bill came out and denied it, right? And he tried to make it like that he was going to fight Fortuna. He even went on a boxing voice with Javier Fortuna's manager, Samson Legowicz, and they both made a bet with each other, right, on who would win the fight, and they agreed that was going to be the next fight happen. Like 2 days after that, it popped up that he fighting Jorge Linares. So it's always some fucking drama. So, you know, it's the same thing with this Regis Prograis situation. So everybody coming out and they trying to get on Regis Prograis helmet like, oh, Regis is scared and Regis is this and that. Why don't we just keep it real and tell the truth that this is nothing new with Devin Haney? It happens every time that he got a fight. It wouldn't surprise me if all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, tomorrow or the next day that Devin Haney pop up and he fighting somebody totally different than Regis Prograis. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised because we've seen it over and over again every time that Devin Haney got a fight coming up. I'm just saying. Now, as far as the fight, if Devin Haney does fight Regis, I think it's a hell of a fight. I take my hat off to Devin Haney for taking on a opponent like Regis Prograis in his first fight at 140 pounds, because that's not an easy fight. I don't give a damn what nobody's saying. That is not an easy fight for Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? It's not Regis Prograis ain't a pushover for nobody. Don't let that last outing that he had fool y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like don't let that fool y'all. Because he hold on. Yeah, I'm saying don't let that outing that he had last time fool y'all just because he went out there against a virtually unknown fighter that he probably didn't take him serious and he didn't look so good. It happens to the best of fighters. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, he did get the W, but he learned from that. And honestly, I've never seen Regis look that bad. You know, I don't know too much about that fighter that he fought, But I know I never seen Regis look that bad, and I know what type of fighter that Regis Prograis is. And so Devin Haney definitely know what type of fight he's getting into. So it could be that Devin Haney and his team are looking at the situation like, maybe we might want to explore different options for our first fight at 140. But either way it goes, like I said, stepping in the ring with Regis, I got to give all the credit to Devin Haney. And if we look at the 135-pound division, right, because that's where Devin Haney came from, and you look at all the top fighters in the 135-pound division. We look at Shakur. Now, everybody know that I think that Shakur beats everybody at 135. That's who I got beating everybody. I think that Shakur and Gervonta Davis are the two best fighters at 135, right? I just got Shakur beating Tank. But I think that that's the best fight that can happen in that weight division, right? But looking at the 135 weight division, if you throw Devin Haney in there, you got to say that he has the best resume just because he fought Lomachenko and he beat Lomachenko. You know what I'm saying? I feel that Tank ain't fought nobody on that level yet, and Shakur ain't fought nobody on that level yet. Even though I feel that Tank and Shakur both beat Devin Haney. But like I said, they still got to prove it. They still got to all get in there and prove it. But I think that Devin, Shakur, and Tank, they all are real good fighters. They all elite level fighters. I just don't see that, Devin beats Gervonta Davis or Shakur Stevenson. But I respect all of those fighters. Melvin Sneed says, do you think Crawford is pound for pound or Tank because Tank KO Ray? Bruh, oh, man. Knock out my guy, right? Knock out my guy. But I ain't gonna lie. When I seen Knockout put your and like I said, this ain't no Tank Davis hate because I'm a fan of Tank. But when I seen Knockout put Tank Davis as number 2 pound for pound fighter, that shit was nuts to me. No, Tank Davis is not number 1 or 2 pound for pound. Crawford is number. Yes, I do. I do think that Terence Crawford is number 1 pound for pound. Right? Yes. But Tank Davis, no. Like, I don't understand. Like, come on, man. We got to keep it 100 now. Like, when you start saying that Gervonta Davis is number 1 or 2 pound for pound, like, that shit is just crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? It's nuts to me because, right, we want to give Tank his respect. We're going to give Tank his respect. But you're not putting that man pound for pound for beating fighters like Rolly Romero and fucking and Ryan Garcia and Yoriogas Gamboa. Like, come on now. Let's just get real about the situation. Like, people just getting out of control with this shit. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm here to keep it 100 with y'all. I'm not finna just say no just crazy off the wall shit just because I like a fighter. I like Shakur Stevenson, right? I believe that Shakur Stevenson has pound for pound skills. Also number 1 pound for pound type skills, right? I also believe that Jaron Boots Ennis has number 1 type pound for pound skills, right? When you look at those two fighters. But I'm not finna put neither one of those two fighters number 1 or number 2 pound for pound. What type of shit is that? So when you do that, right? And yeah, I'm talking about Knockout. Like I said, yeah, because I seen Knockout's list, and that's his list. That he's more power to his list. But when you do some shit like that, and then you say that you have Gervonta Davis, number 2 pound for pound, I don't have no problem with Terence Crawford. Yes, Terence Crawford is number 1 pound for pound. Put him right there. But when you do a pound for pound list and you put Gervonta Davis, number 2 pound for pound, and then you put Shakur Stevenson all the way down at number 9 pound for pound. And then the things that he said, like, oh man, Shakur doesn't impress me. Shakur don't this, and that. But you had Shakur at number 4 pound for pound, your list before. So what changed? That's what I want to know. But even saying that, right? So that means that if Shakur and Gervonta Davis fight, the fight shouldn't even happen because Tank is going to win the fight by a landslide. They don't even need to get in the ring. It ain't even no close fight. If Tank is that far ahead of Shakur Stevenson, that's the type of shit, like, it doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, nah. Tank ain't number 2 pound for pound. You have to be able to prove that, right? And the way you prove that is by doing what Terence Crawford did. You got to fight another elite A+ level fighter. And if you beat that fighter, right, then they can put you at pound for pound. What Inoue did, right? What Inoue did, right? He fought another elite level fighter and he destroyed him. So, yeah, you can put him in the top, you know, wherever you want to put him in the top 5 pound for pound, right? You do things like Andre Ward did. You go through a whole tournament, you whoop everybody in that tournament, all the top fighters. Then you move up in weight and you whoop the top fighters in that next weight class. You do things like that. You can't fucking just knock out guys like Rolly and fucking Ryan Garcia and Gamboa and then say, okay, well, he's pound for pound number 1. How? Don't make no sense. Like, come on, man. Let's just keep it real. Just say that that's your favorite fighter and you like that fighter a lot. Like, but you can't do shit like that don't have substance behind it. You know what I'm saying? And then want to talk real boxing. Just say that you're saying that from a fan's perspective, because it's nothing to back that up at all. And you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just like giving participation trophies. And like I said, I'm not shitting on Tank, right? Because I think he's a hell of a fighter. Could Tank be a number 1 pound for pound potentially in the sport? Yeah, he definitely can. I believe if he goes out and beats a fighter like a Shakur Stevenson, right? Beats a fighter like a Devin Haney, then we could talk about Tank Davis being number 1 pound for pound. Right? Because if you're just going off of what you think he looked like in the ring against, you know, these fighters that are not A-class level fighters, well, then you can easily say that Shakur Stevenson is number 1 pound for pound. Or you can easily say that Jerron Boots Ennis is number 1 pound for pound. You see where I'm going by this? So it's just crazy to say shit like that and putting these fighters on a pedestal and crowning them above everybody else when they haven't proven that yet. You know what I'm saying? Boxing is not becoming what have you done and who have you beat. It's becoming a popularity contest. And that's honestly why I don't even really do live streams no more, because all of this shit is a popularity contest. And most of the majority of boxing fans, they just speak from who they like. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to actually have a honest dialogue with boxing fans nowadays. Shit is all a popularity contest. That's all it is. So, you know, when you get to the A level, when you get 2 A+ level fighters in the ring or 2 A level fighters in the ring, that's when we can see, right, how you do. Because another A level fighter, right, let's just use Gervonta Davis for an example. We can use Jerron Ennis or whoever, but I'm gonna use Gervonta Davis for an example, right? He get in the ring with a Shakur Stevenson or somebody. That's when we find out what level both of those fighters. We know they're A-level fighters, right? But exactly where both of those fighters are, because it's certain things that Shakur is gonna do that take away from what Gervonta Davis is able to do with these other fighters, right? And then you got Shakur Stevenson. It's certain things that Gervonta Davis is going to be able to do to take away from certain things that Shakur is able to do with other fighters that he's been in the ring with. That's why we need the best to fight the best. But yeah, so that's just what that is. Steph, what's happening with it? Mustache. He said, we're about 8 months in. Who's caught your eye thus far? Saw Arthur be in action earlier. Devin Loma earlier. Caleb and David went 12. Bud and Errol went at it. Who you like nowadays? I mean, honestly, man, you just got to keep it real and give credit where credit is due, right? I believe that Terence Crawford put on the best performance out of everybody, the most shocking performance. I also believe that Errol Spence wasn't at his best, you know what I'm saying? But you still got to give credit to Terence Crawford until somebody proved different. So, yeah, that's Terence Crawford to me. What he did was above everybody else, right? And then I think next I will have to go with David Benavidez, because David Benavidez, the way that he beat Caleb Plant and whooped on him, he did it in much greater fashion than Canelo Alvarez did. And I believe he did it against a better fighter than Canelo Alvarez fought. When Canelo fought Caleb Plant, he was still kind of green. He had never been on that big stage like that. And, I think that he learned a lot from the Canelo fight. And we saw it when he fought David Benavidez, because one thing that he did learn, he learned how to survive. And he learned not to make the same mistake that he did in the Canelo Alvarez fight. And he did actually show that he had dog in him, right? He had dog in him. But I think that David Benavidez, he put on the performance to me against Caleb Plant. So I think the best two performance, Bud standing over all of them, and then David Benavidez was next. I saw you put Devin and Lomachenko in there. I thought that Devin Haney was going to, beat Lomachenko a lot more convincingly. Don't get me wrong. I think that Devin Haney won the fight. I had Devin Haney winning that fight. I believe I had it like 8 rounds to 4. You know what I'm saying? So I had Devin Haney winning the fight. But that fight was different than your normal 8 rounds to 4 or 9 rounds to 3. However I had it. Because a lot of those rounds were razor thin. Razor close. And like I told people plenty of times, the reason I gave those rounds to Devin Haney, because I still believe that if a fight is razor close like that and the rounds are razor close, the challenger has to do something, right, to stick out. And Lomachenko wasn't doing that. They was back and forth. So I'm giving those rounds to Devin Haney, So I think Devin won the fight, but it wasn't impressive to me. He didn't do nothing that impressed me in the fight to where I'm like, okay, yeah, he's a pound for pound great. He didn't show me that. I think that Teofimo Lopez beat Lomachenko in much greater fashion than Devin Haney did, to be honest. Even though I don't rock with Teo like that, but I just got to be honest about the situation. The KG, what's happening with it? Salute. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all smash the like button. You know what I'm saying? Get the likes up. Smash on the like. It don't cost you nothing. Yeah, so it don't cost y'all nothing. So make sure that you know, at least hit the like button. Anui, man, Anui's a problem. Like Anui is a problem, right? But then people are talking about Tank Davis and Anui. There are weight classes for a reason. If Anui go up there fucking with Tank Davis, he's going to get knocked out because he's too small. You got to understand, this is a fighter that was actually not too long ago, probably like 2014, 15, was fighting like at 106 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a guy that's been moving up a lot in weight. And talking about him going to 130, let's say they fight at a catch weight at like 133 or something. You know what I'm saying? Tank is too big for him. You talking about a Gervonta Davis that we've seen walk around at 180 pounds and shit. That's not like, yeah, he'll get hurt messing with Tank. But does that mean that he ain't a great fighter? Man, he a hell of a fighter. But stop trying to put these fighters, you know what I'm saying, in just like, that's casual shit. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of casual shit going on in boxing right now. You know, and what I mean by that is, let's say, for instance, I talk to my partner. He don't know shit about weight classes. All he knows is, you know, he know a little bit about boxing. So he might ask me some shit about who I think could win between Deontay Wilder and Jermell Charlo. You see what I'm saying? Like, man, who you got if Wilder and Charlo fight? And I'm like, bruh, Charlo is a middleweight and Wilder's a heavyweight. Oh, well, man, what you mean? What you mean? Like he taught? No, bro, they in way different weight classes. It ain't happening. And so when I hear people saying shit like that, it's like they have weight classes for a reason. Stop giving me all that casual talk. Yeah, so it's not, man, like y'all trying to get that man hurt. Now, Bud and Canelo, we gonna get into that. You know what I'm saying? We gonna get into that a little bit later, you know. We gonna get into that a little bit later. And another thing with Tank Davis and Terence Crawford, right? That's another one of those situations, right? But I think that Crawford, why is he even like Crawford? To me, this is my thing with Terence Crawford, right? Terence Crawford, when Jerome Boots Ennis is brought up, he doesn't want no parts of Jerome Boots Ennis. Like, yeah, okay, you give Terence Crawford all the praise in the world, right? And I've said this before Bud ever stepped in the ring with Errol Spence. I've said this. So don't try to like, oh man, you Errol Spence fan. Now you're going to Jerome Ennis. Anybody that been watching me, I've said this before Terence Crawford and Errol Spence ever stepped in the ring. I've been saying this shit, right? But now I see it even more. And I understand. I get it, right? I get why he don't want to fight Jerome Ennis. But let's be real. Let's keep it 100 because, see, I'm hearing him talk first, right? And his thing was, first he was talking real gravy. He was talking real slick. Remember when they was on Dillian White show? Oh man, this and that, and you know what I'm saying, you'll get knocked out, and yeah, I'll fight him, and this, right? It was all that tough talk he was talking, right? Now he beats Errol Spence, and the fight is actually realistic now. Jerome Boots Ennis is the mandatory for that IBF strap, right? The first thing I saw that Terence Crawford did, let's talk about it. Y'all smash the like button. Let's talk about it. First thing I saw he did is Jerome Ennis and Terence Crawford and Wallow, they were messaging back and forth, right? Bud was talking shit to Jerome Ennis talking his shit back, right? On text message. Wallow puts it out, and Bud gets pissed off that Wallow puts it out, right? Jerron Ennis didn't have a problem with it. He ain't have a problem. Like, we talking back and forth the same shit that we do in public. We're not saying no secretive shit for nobody to, you know what I'm saying? We're not talking no personal shit, no family situation, nothing. We talking shit, the same shit that we would talk in front of a camera. Bud Crawford gets pissed off that the conversation was put out, right? Why did Bud get pissed off that the conversation was put out? Common sense will tell you why. Because he's talking shit to Jerron Ennis, right? Telling him what he'll do to him and this, and that. But he actually knows that he's not going to ever fight Jerron Ennis, right? So he bluffing behind the scenes, but he don't want people to see what he's saying to Jerron Ennis because he's not going to fight him. So I'm like, why are you mad? Okay, I see why he's mad. I see why he didn't want this conversation to come out, because he don't want people basically lining him up with Jerron Ennis because he know he don't want to fight Ennis. So bam, I see that. Then I see Terence Crawford come back and they ask him about fighting Jerron Ennis. Spot on. Hold on. Let me get to this super chat and I'm gonna continue to cook. My man, Steph, what's happening with it? He says, "Be well, E. Good be with you." He said, "Oh, God be with you. Smash the like button, chat. Yeah, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, and God bless you." So fast forward, right? Bud Crawford does an interview. Of course, they ask him about Jerron Ennis because Jerron Ennis, he that next guy up. It's, you know what I'm saying, in 147-pound weight division. If Terence Crawford were to fight in that weight division again, we know it ain't going to be Errol Spence because EJ moving up to 154 if they don't rematch at 154. So it's Jerron Ennis. So people going to ask him about Ennis. And Bud, this is what he said. He says, "Nah, fight ain't happening." He says, because I'm not interested in fighting Jerron Ennis because, and then he tried to make it like he don't have a big enough name. It's not a big money fight and all of that, right? So he took that shit off the table as fast as they asked him. Now, if he was interested, he could have said something like, "You know what? It all depends on how much money they're gonna pay me." Right? It all depends on how much money they're gonna pay me. And I see people keep talking about Keith Thurman and Jerron Ennis, right? Keith Thurman don't have no belt. Jerron Ennis is the mandatory for a title. So I like, people need to stop putting Keith Thurman in the place of Terence Crawford not wanting to fight the man. Let's just call it what it is. We know that Keith Thurman don't want no smoke with him, but let's just call it what it is. Bud Crawford don't neither. Yes, Terence Crawford beat Errol Spence. Yes, we give him all the praise in the world for going out there and doing everything he said he was going to do against Errol Spence. But that doesn't have nothing to do with this situation. Just because you beat one A-level fighter don't mean that, okay, now you're exempt from everything else. You beat Errol Spence and now you ain't got to do nothing else if you stay in the sport of boxing. Nah, we're not doing that, right? We're not doing that. So, Bud, he didn't say, well, you know, if they willing to pay me the amount of money that I'm asking for, I'll fight Jerron Ennis. Or it depends on how much they talking about paying me, I'll fight Jerron Ennis. It was basically a flat out no. And he started making excuses, right? Then I just heard Bernie the Boxer speak on the situation. Now, Bernie the Boxer, he's talking about, oh, you know, man, Jerron Ennis ain't ready. You know, this and that. He needs more fights. You know, he needs to go in against Keith Thurman and see how he fares against Keith Thurman. And, you know, because he's not ready to fight somebody like Terence Crawford. And I would want him to fight Keith Thurman before he would step in the ring with a Bud and this and that. And I'm listening to this nigga, Bernie, and I'm like, okay, All of a sudden now, you worried about Jerron Boost's you worried about Jerron Ennis being ready or not. So all of a sudden now, you so worried about if Jerron Boost Ennis is ready or not. And I'm like, this shit don't make no sense to me. Was y'all worried about if motherfucking David I've been sneezing was ready? Like, I never seen Terence Crawford in his camp worried about if any fighter was ready or not. So all of a sudden, y'all care about Jerron Boost Ennis that much, and y'all want to make sure that he's ready in your eyes and he's at his absolute best before he get a chance to step in the ring with y'all. If that definitely don't make sense to me. And so we know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know what the shit is. Oh man, he ain't ready and he needs to fight this fighter and this fighter and this fighter and make sure that he's ready, you know, because come on, man. That's the last thing a Terence Crawford would want to do, is have Jerron Boost Ennis get more ready than he is right now, get better, right? Get more experience, get more dangerous, and then fight him? Where the fuck that makes sense at? Who does that? Who does that? Let me make sure he's better than he already is. You know what I'm saying? And now we'll fight him. Like, come on, man. Like, this shit is just ridiculous. Upper echelon, what's happening with it? Salute. And yeah, y'all smash the like button. Because, see, I'm one of the very few that's going to really, really talk this real shit. Oh, come on, man. It's crazy, man. It's nuts. So just give that shit to me directly how it is. Just say, you know what? At this point in my career, right? At this point in my career, I'm not going to fight no hungry, young-ass dude like Jerron Ennis. You know who said that? Sean Porter said it. And when Sean Porter said it, nobody got on his helmet and nobody said nothing to Sean Porter about it because he kept it real. Sean Porter was like, I'm not fighting no Jerron Boost Ennis. I'm not fighting no young, hungry-ass fighter like Jerron Ennis. He kept it 100. He kept it real. And people respected that. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm saying. Keep it a buck. We know that you don't want to fight Jerron Ennis, but I understand why he doesn't want to fight Jerron Ennis, no matter how much they pay him, right? Because this is the real. Terence Crawford is on a pedestal right now. He's at an all-time high. He just came off of beating top-rated pound-for-pound fighter, right? Most people consider Errol Spence, you know, not only one of the top-rated pound-for-pound fighters, they consider him the best fighter in 147-pound weight division. He had 3 belts, had been dominating for years. Bud went in there and he beat him and made it look easy, right? So Terence Crawford is getting all the praises in the world. People saying that Bud is the best fighter, you know, since goddamn Mayweather was in the sport. They even saying that he's better than Mayweather. They're comparing Bud to like top 5 all-time greats in all of boxing, right? Everywhere he go, he's getting praise. People that knew his name, people that didn't know his name, they know his name now, right? They talking about him everywhere. Honestly, I was watching the UFC this weekend, and they was talking about Terence Crawford on the UFC. On the UFC pay-per-view this weekend, they was talking about Bud Crawford, right? So everybody is talking about Bud. He's at the highest of high right now. Ain't nobody higher in boxing than Terence Bud Crawford. And he loving every bit of it. So he looking at the situation like, go in there, fight a young, hungry motherfucker that can do everything I can do. He switch hit better than me. He probably more athletic than me or just as athletic than, as I am. He got faster hands than me. He hit harder than me, or he hit just as hard as I do. He young, right? He's skillful. He takes his craft just as serious as I do. He stays in the gym. He probably in the gym more than I am. And he has a question mark, right? Because he's been running through everybody. And we actually don't know how good he is. He could be fucking one of the all-time greats. And y'all want me to get in the ring against him? And fuck around and lose? And get knocked off of this pedestal that I'm on? Fuck no. I'm gonna ride this shit out to the end. I ain't finna get in there with nobody like Jermell Ennis. For what? Right? He's not gonna do it. But see, when fighters get to that pinnacle that Terence Crawford get to, they all act like that. It ain't just Bud. So don't think I'm just like, oh man, you're hating on Bud. You're hating on Bud. No, it's not just Bud that does it. We seen Floyd Mayweather do the same shit. Floyd wasn't finna get in the ring with no Errol Spence or no Keith Thurman. One of them dudes back then, when he had hit the peak of his career, when everybody was like, man, Floyd is the all-time everything. These fighters, man, they're not taking the chances like that. The only one that was taking chances like that, right, is Manny Pacquiao. Manny was the only one that was really doing shit like that. You know, and Roy Jones was actually doing shit like that, but it didn't turn out well for him, and it didn't turn out well for Manny Pacquiao. So it's kind of like, you know, fighters, they don't really rock like that. My man Big Dose was happening with it. He said, Boots don't even have no kids. Exactly. And that's a big factor. He ain't got to do nothing but focus on himself. That's it. So Terence Crawford is not an idiot. You know what I'm saying? He ain't dumb. Now, am I saying that Terence Crawford can't win against Boots? Nah. Ain't nobody saying that shit. Right? But he ain't going to take that chance. He ain't going to put himself in that type of situation. Let's keep it a buck. Looking at Boots inside the ring, looking at Boots on paper, he got better skills than a Canelo Alvarez. He got better skills than Errol Spence offensively, right? I'm saying just looking at him on paper. He got better skills than Canelo, Errol Spence, Jermell Charlo, all of them. And he's younger than all of them. And his name is not on the level where their name is at. So you think I'm finna take a chance on him? And he fuck around and beat Terence Crawford. Then you know what what all the boxing casual fans gonna say? Well, Bud was never that good. He just beat Errol. Shit, Errol wasn't that good neither. You know what the talks is gonna be after that. So he not finna let that happen. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to let that happen. He just not. Against a fighter that, you know, ain't got a chance yet. I tell you, when Jermell Ennis get a chance, it's not going to be from no goddamn Bud Crawford. He looking at it like, yeah, he going to get his chance one day, but it's not going to be against me. So, you know, it is what it is. T says, I can say the same for Shakur. They freezing Boots and Kur out, but I already know your stance on Shakur. He should have took that offer, right? Are you talking to somebody else? You're talking to somebody else, right? And another thing, right? Shakur Stevenson talking about they're freezing him out. I don't know what the hell he's talking about, right? And we're going to cook on that situation. All that they're freezing him out. I made a video on that, and I'm not feeling that talk, right? But also, when people running around talking about the 25%, see, this is what people like to do, right? if you like a fighter, y'all will not keep it real about that fighter. It don't matter what happens, right? So we had Bob Arum, Shakur Stevenson's promoter, Devin Haney's last promoter, come out and say, look, you know, the 25% offer, that shit wasn't real. Like, you know what I'm saying? He said it was never no substance behind it. It was never real. See, this is what I see. I listen to what everybody got to say. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lie when I hear one. I know a lie when I hear one. Real talk. I told y'all with that shit that people was going around with that shit that, oh man, Bill Haney and Devin Haney went to Bob Arum and went to Top Rank on 6 different occasions and tried to get them to make a Shakur Stevenson fight. Asking about a Shakur Stevenson fight. I knew that was a fucking lie because when I heard Bill Haney talk on the Boxing Voice, Bill Haney was like, have Shakur go beg for the fight like he do everything else if he want to fight Devin. Yeah. We want him to do all the shit that he was doing with all them other fighters that he was begging to fight that he didn't get a fight with. You know what I'm saying? We want him to do the same thing for a Devin Haney fight if he want to fight us. That's what Bill Haney said on the Boxing Voice. So hearing Bill Haney say some shit like that, why the fuck would I believe that the same man that said that went to Top Rank and Bob Arum on 6 different occasions and begged them and was asking them to make a Shakur Stevenson fight? Come on, man. Like, y'all got common sense, but you don't want to use it half of the time. Like, that's just common sense. That's bullshit, right? So when Bob Arum tells you that, that 25% shit was just no, it was never real. In order for Shakur Stevenson to actually get offered a real 25% offer, it would have to go through the promoter. The last time I checked, Shakur and Devin Haney was not going to fight under Devin Haney Promotions. They were going to fight under Top Rank Promotions. So in that case, a 25% offer would have to go through and go to Bob Arum. And if the man Bob Arum that everything got to go through tells you it was never no 25% offer, that shit was never real, well, who the fuck am I supposed to believe? If the promoter said it himself. You want me to believe 2 fighters going back and forth on goddamn Twitter? Or do you want me to believe the promoter that has to put the fucking deal together? Like, come on, man, common sense. Now, moving along, when Shakur Stevenson came out with this shit saying that he's being frozen out, right? I'm being frozen out in all of this shit, right? And I'm looking at Shakur and I'm like, man, sometimes Shakur needs to stop running his fucking mouth, right? Respectfully. Sometimes he needs to calm it down on Twitter and think before he speaks, but he's still young and he's still learning, right? And I understand that he's frustrated because Shakur wants to prove that he is the best of the best. He want to fight these top level fighters, right? So Shakur, he thinking that he's going to fight Frank Martin because they moved Frank Martin in that position. So, you know, I believe it was Lomachenko turned it down. I think maybe it was George Kambosos, Pitbull Cruz, and everybody turned it down, right? And so Frank Martin was the next up. Frank Martin and Shakur, it looked like that they was in position to be able to fight for the vacant WBC strap. And now it looks like that Shakur Stevenson, right, is basically saying that that's off the table when he feels like that he getting froze out from fighting the top fighters. And he needs to understand this is a business before anything, right? Nobody's freezing you out, right? Nobody's freezing you out. all promotional companies work the same way. They all work the same way. If you look at the situation with Frank Martin, right? I know a lot of people high on Frank Martin, and I like Frank Martin. I think he's a very good fighter. Is he a fighter that's on Shakur Stevenson's level? Nah. I don't think that he beat Shakur Stevenson at all. You know what I'm saying? Not even come close to beating Shakur. But that's just my opinion, right? You feel me? That's my opinion. But I like Frank Martin. I fuck with Frank Martin. But when you got to look at the situation, Frank Martin is on the come up just like Shakur Stevenson is on the come up. So if you are the promoter of Frank Martin and you're looking at him and you're looking at the WBC scrap, you're looking at Devin Haney's situation, and you know that Devin Haney got to drop all them motherfucking. He's eventually going to drop all those belts because Devin Haney not fighting at 135 no more. So those belts are going to get relinquished, right? I believe it's the WBA scrap that always ends up on the PBC side, right? So you looking at, if you his promoter, put Frank Martin in there with Shakur Stevenson while he's still on the come up, a fighter like Shakur Stevenson, put him in there in a title fight for the WBC in there with Shakur Stevenson, the toughest fucking fight out of all of them, because we're not talking about Tank, because that Tank Davis, he's not in this equation. So we're not talking about Tank, right? So you put him in there with Shakur Stevenson, the toughest fight out of any of these guys, right, that he can fight. Or you wait around, that WBA strap, all the rest of them straps are going to come up available, and you have him fight somebody much easier than the Shakur Stevenson, giving him a better possibility of becoming a champion. And then down the line, a Shakur Stevenson and Frank Martin fight will still be available. But you put him in there with Shakur Stevenson right off the rip, it don't fucking matter if it's for a WBC strap or not. And he loses to Shakur Stevenson. Now what you do? Now you don't get a chance to fight for none of those other vacant titles that's coming up because you just lost to Shakur Stevenson. But, I mean, I know a lot of y'all don't understand that. So, with Shakur saying that they're freezing him out, it's not that they're freezing you out, Shakur. It's the business of boxing. You feel me? It is the business of boxing, and all promoters work like this. All promoters work like this. So Shakur need to understand that shit and stop running with that Terence Crawford, the shit that he heard from Bud Crawford. Oh, man, they freezing me out. Bruh, just because Bud said that shit don't mean you need to come run behind him and say the same shit. Bud is Bud, and you are a different human being than Bud Crawford. Like, come on, dog. So, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, even though I rock with Shakur Stevenson, I'm not one of these dudes that try to act like if I like a fighter, they can't do or say nothing wrong. That's the difference between me. I'm going to call you on your bullshit. I don't think, and a lot of people saying that his promoter, Bob Arum, is freezing him out. I don't think that Bob is freezing him out. Like, Bob can't make Vasyl Lomachenko get in the ring and fight Shakur Stevenson. That's what another thing y'all got to understand. If Lomachenko don't want to fight Shakur, and he's telling Bob Arum that he don't want to fight Shakur, and he's telling his people around him and told Shakur, no, thank you, what the fuck is Bob Arum supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is Bob supposed to do? Bob can't fucking tie Lomachenko's fucking hands behind his back and throw him in the ring with Shakur. That's the fighter, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's the fighter. Like, all of this, man, Bob is freezing Shakur out and PBC is freezing Shakur. Ain't nobody fucking freezing Shakur out. Shakur is getting treated the same way any other fighter that's on the level that he is, that's very dangerous. That's just what it is. These motherfucking promoters are not taking chances right? With a fighter that they see that they can make a lot of money off of and put them in the ring with another fighter that they probably gonna lose to or have a very high possibility of losing to. Let's keep it a buck. Like if Gervonta Davis had got in the ring with Vasyl Lomachenko back when Floyd Mayweather and Tank was all saying that, you know, oh man, Lomachenko, man, we basically saying that they was going to age him out. Years ago, if Tank had gotten in the ring with Lomachenko, and I don't know what would have happened, but let's say if Tank had got beat by Vasyl Lomachenko, they wouldn't have been able to build Tank like they built him up right now. That's why they kept him out of certain fights, because they were still building him. The same shit with a Frank Martin and whoever else it may be. Teach says Jermaine Ortiz, Santos, and Frank Martin all said they, so for you to say Frank Martin, right? And I just got done explaining you the situation with Frank Martin, but you still come on here and put Frank Martin. Like, bro, I don't understand what's wrong with some of y'all. Like I really don't. Now, Jermaine Ortiz, he can get a fight with Shakur, but didn't Jermaine Ortiz just miss weight by like 6 pounds in his last fight? Like, I'm asking you a question. Did Jermaine Ortiz just miss weight by like 6 pounds his last fight? And then I just explained to you how promoters work when fighters are on different sides, right? You put in there Santos. Santos is a PBC fighter. So in order for Santos to be able to fight Shakur Stevenson, it would have to be where Santos is in that position in the WBC. And if they can't get a deal done, they would go to purse bid if the promoter wants it. So I don't know why like it's so hard for y'all, some of y'all, to understand how things work, bro. You know what I'm saying? But and to go back to Frank Martin, right? Frank Martin says that, oh yeah, I will fight Shakur Stevenson, right? Also, Frank Martin did an interview and he says that it doesn't make no sense for him and Shakur Stevenson to fight. He did an interview, right? And I talked about this before. He says it doesn't make no sense for him and Shakur Stevenson to fight right now when they can both continue to build their careers and it could be a much bigger fight and they can both make a whole lot more money fighting each other down the line than they would fighting each other right now. This is what Frank Martin said. Shakur Stevenson didn't say that. Frank Martin said that. And when Frank said that, I understood what he was saying, right? I understood what he was saying. Moolah says Shakur is fighting Martin. Stop acting, bro. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna actively get you the fuck up out of my chat. That's what I'm going to do. For real. That's what I'm going to act on. Anyway. So yeah, you know, as far as Shakur and Frank Martin, I definitely want to see that fight. I would love to see that fight happen. You know what I'm saying? I would love to see that fight happen, but man, I don't know, man. It don't look like it's gonna happen, like I said. And I understand how, because I understand how these promoters work. You know what I'm saying? I understand how these promoters work. And it's like, do Errol Spence want to have his fighter that he's trying to build into a main event pay-per-view level fighter get in the ring with a Shakur Stevenson right now? Like, I've heard Bob Arum talk plenty of times, right? And I know that Bob Arum believes in Shakur Stevenson. Like, for Bob Arum to say that Shakur Stevenson beats everybody at 135 and he named them all off. He says he beats a Vasyl Lomachenko, he beats a Devin Haney, and he beats a Tank Davis. When he said that Shakur beats Lomachenko, right there I knew that Bob believed in Shakur. Because you ain't never heard Bob say that nobody beats Lomachenko. Because he loved some Lomachenko. He loved Lomachenko to death. And when he let that shit come out of his mouth, I know that Bob will put Shakur up against anybody, right? If the financial situation in the business is right. He ain't worried about Shakur. You know what I'm saying? He's not worried about Shakur. Now, somebody asked me, who do I think Shakur will fight? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say that Frank Martin don't want to fight him. But I think the business will get in the way of that, right? De Los Santos is a PBC fighter, so that fight can't happen. So we got to look at who is in the rankings, right? Who are they going to put in that position to fight Shakur Stevenson for that WBC scrap? Does anybody got the WBC rankings? Let me see. Does anybody got the WBC rankings? WBC rankings for lightweight division. I got to pull up the rankings because we know George Kambosos, right? George Kambosos, he don't want no smoke. And I don't even want to see Shakur fight no fucking George Kambosos. That's a big mismatch. I don't want to see no shit like that. I want to see Shakur in the ring with somebody that actually, you know what I'm saying, has a great chance of putting on a great fight against Shakur. Not no fucking George Kambosos. Isaac Cruz is another one. He turned it down. He don't want no smoke. Isaac Cruz, Isaac Cruz know he not shit. Like, come on, let's keep it real about Isaac Cruz. Isaac Cruz, his whole thing is to talk Gervonta Davis into giving him a rematch. So he get a payday and then go on and fucking do whatever he gonna do. Like Isaac Cruz he already said he don't want to fight Shakur. So Jose Zepeda would be the next one in line. So I'm gonna read off the rankings, right? Vasil Lomachenko already X him out. Isaac Cruz X him out. He turned it down. Frank Martin, it don't look like that's gonna happen because of the promotional situations, unless the WBC get in between them and order the fight. And then if the WBC order the fight, both sides still gotta agree, right? So Frank Martin, for right now, it don't look like that's gonna happen. William Zepeda, he's a fighter with Match. I think he's with Golden Boy, right? So William Zepeda would be the next one after Frank Martin. If he passes Shakur up, because he passed Shakur up already before, one time before. He already passed Shakur up. So if he passes Shakur up, Edwin De Los Santos is the next one. Edwin De Los Santos, he been vocal about wanting to fight Shakur. I would like to see that fight. He's a PBC fighter, but like I said, in order for that fight to happen, the WBC, they would have to get involved, order the fight, and then they would have to, see if the two parties could come to an agreement, whether they're going to have it on PBC or whether they're going to have it on Top Rank. If they can't have an agreement, then they're going to have to go to purse bid. Now, Edwin De Los Santos, maybe the PBC look at him and say, okay, we'll let him fight. You know what I'm saying? We'll let him fight. That's a fight that we'll bid on if it go to purse bid. I don't know. After that is Jermaine Ortiz. Now, Jermaine Ortiz is number 7. I believe that if it gets all the way down to Jermaine Ortiz, right? I believe if it gets all the way down to Jermaine Ortiz, I think that's the fight that'll be made. I think it'll eventually be Jermaine Ortiz and Shakur Stevenson, right? I think that's the fight to be made. But then the question is, does Jermaine Ortiz deserve a Shakur Stevenson title shot for the belt? Because he just missed weight by a fucking grip. You know what I'm saying? And he fucked his other opponent over. Can Jermaine Ortiz even make the weight? That's a question. Now, what's going on with it, Boxing? I see you in the building. And Nick J, what's going on with it, Nick J? She said, I don't like y'all counting out Frank Martin. I fuck with Frank Martin heavy. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, when I talk to boxing, I got to keep it real. Frank Martin he's not fucking with Shakur. He's not on a Shakur Stevenson level. But I like that fight. I just don't think that they will make that fight. Me being Frank Martin's promoter, I'm looking at the business aspect of the I'm looking at the business aspect of it, right? If I'm Errol Spence, Frank Martin is my only fighter, really, right? Frank Martin is on that level, right? He's being put in the conversation as an elite 135-pound fighter, but he's still on the rise. He's still getting better. He's still learning, right? He's far from being at his best. He's still got a lot of things that he needs to work on. If I have an option to wait around a little bit for some of those other belts to become vacant, and Frank Martin can fight somebody else instead of having to fight Shakur Stevenson right now, if I'm the promoter, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm not finna put him in there with Shakur Stevenson. It don't make business sense. It really don't. Now he loses to Shakur Stevenson. I done fucked off my money with my fighter as a promoter, and then I done fucked off his money because now we know how boxing is. As soon as you lose, here come the fans. They want to put you way back in the back of the line. They want to act like that you was never shit to begin with. And then the promoters and the big heads, they can use that against you also when it comes to paying you. Now you're not an undefeated top attraction. And so we know how the business of boxing go. So, you know, I mean, when Frank Martin said to himself, it don't make no sense right now. He says, you know, we can continue to get bigger names and we can both get a much bigger payday down the line. So if Frank Martin said that, you don't think that Errol Spence, his promoter, is thinking like that? Nick J, you saying that is no better person to lose to, right, than Shakur Stevenson since he's the best thing, right? Or you saying that I'm saying that, right? Doesn't matter what I say. The fact still remains is that they're not going to give him no credit for losing to no Shakur Stevenson. That's what still remains. Frank Martin going there and he loses to Shakur Stevenson and he win 2 rounds, right? What they going to do? He going to get credit for losing to Shakur? No. They going to put him in the back of the motherfucking line. They going to try to act like that he don't exist. Y'all acting like that Frank Martin is a fucking a huge attraction. He ain't there yet. So if he lose, he definitely ain't going to be there. Like, come on, man. Y'all know this. I like Frank Martin just as much as y'all do, but we got to keep it a buck. Because I guarantee you, if they fuck around and make a Shakur Stevenson and Frank Martin fight, ain't never one of y'all finna bet me no money. I ain't never one of y'all finna put no money up. Ain't none of y'all finna bet on Frank Martin. Let's just keep it a buck. Like, come on now. Y'all not about to put no money up on Frank Martin. And this is not shitting on Frank Martin. It's just like that Frank is just not on that level of Shakur Stevenson yet. Man. But Sparko, bro. No, I didn't see that, right? And that ain't none of my business, bro. Like, we talking boxing here. Don't come up in here with that gossiping shit, bro. I don't want to. I don't got nothing to do with that. That is none of my business. Salute to them dudes. Whatever they don't have nothing to do with me. I came on here to talk boxing. That's it. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, Frank Martin and Shakur Stevenson, it's a good fight. I would love to see that fight. You feel me? I would love to see that fight. I'm not one of these fight. Like, see, I'm speaking I'm telling y'all how the promoter in the business of boxing is ran, right? The chess moves that they make. I'm not sitting here and telling you that, oh, well, Frank ain't ready and Frank shouldn't be in. Hey, if he wants to smoke, put him in there. You know what I'm saying? Put him in there. I just hate how the business of boxing is ran nowadays, because I know once one of these fighters lose, they're going to try to act like that they ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? Instead of saying like what Nick J was saying, what she was saying that I was basically been saying, like, okay, well, if Shakur Stevenson is all of that, well, you know, ain't no better person for Frank Martin to lose to. That's how it should be. It should be if Frank Martin go in there, fight Shakur, and he loses to Shakur, well, he lost to the best. You know what I'm saying? You give Shakur his credit for beating Frank Martin, and you give Frank Martin his credit for stepping up, fighting to Shakur Stevenson, losing to Shakur. But, you know, hey, he fought the best. It ain't no, you know, hey, and then Frank Martin should be able to go on and in his next fight, get a title shot or something like that, but they don't move like that. You feel me? They don't move like that. If we're talking about UFC, then we could talk. But we all know that boxing is not ran like that. Boxing ain't ran like that. The boxing fans' mentality, they don't even think like that. So it's kind of like, man, it's different, you know? It's very different when we come to talk about boxing, unless on very rare occasions, unless you were somebody like a Vasyl Lomachenko that's going to continue to get chance after chance after chance, right? You got certain fighters in the sport of boxing, every time you look up, they getting another fucking chance at a belt or something. Like you got Vasyl Lomachenko. What's that other dude named Joet Gonzalez? And cats like that. You got certain fighters that it don't matter how many times they lose, whatever happened, they're going to continue to get chances. I don't see Frank Martin being one of those fighters as of yet, right? I don't see Shakur Stevenson being one of them type of fighters as of yet. It's just how things is. Courtney, what's good with it? What's good with it? See, he say they just want to see fight, but don't understand the business. Keep talking sense into these folks. They need it, man. Neat J know the business. She know exactly what I'm talking about, but you know she gonna rock with Frank Martin, and I understand. Like, you know, you gotta rock with and stay loyal to the people that fuck with you. You feel me? But it's just is what it is. We all know. You know what I'm saying? Nick J says they will say that even if you have a stellar career and lose, he says, hell, they will tell you EJ ain't shit after one loss. Yeah, but they've been saying that shit. EJ got exposed. He fought only man. This the crazy shit, right? He only fought fighters that he should have beat. Like, what type of shit is that? All those fighters he fought, he should have beat. What does that even mean? Like, what does that even mean? All those fighters that Errol Spence fought, man, he should have beat those fighters. What? But how the fuck you tell me he fought Sean Porter at his absolute best, but he should have beat Sean Porter? He fought Danny Garcia, but he should have beat Danny Garcia. He fought Kell Brook, but he should have beat. He's only fought fighters that he should have beat. Like, I don't even know what that means. You know what I'm saying? And so with the whole situation with Shakur Stevenson and Frank Martin, right? I don't feel that Frank Martin would turn down the fight, right? I think that Frank Martin, so people don't get my words misconstrued. I think that Frank Martin will take the fight, right? If they give Frank Martin the option, you can fight Shakur Stevenson for the WBC strap I think that Frank Martin will take the fight, right? But also, I think that his handlers around him will try to tell him, you know what? We don't need to take this fight right now, Frank, because we're going to get you a shot at the WBA strap that's about to become vacant. Or we're going to get you a shot at the IBF strap that's about to become vacant or something like that. We're going to say the Shakur Stevenson fight for down the line. I think that Frank Martin would take it, but I think they'll advise him go a different direction. And when you are in the position that Frank Martin is in, still early in his career, he's going to listen to his handlers. He's going to listen to the people that he have around him. You feel me? That's all I'm saying. But I don't think that Frank Martin going to duck no smoke for sure. But yeah, so moving along, right? Where we at on time? We ain't got that much time left, but I got about less than 30 minutes, but so I got to get to cooking on the situations, right? Let me see where I want to go, because I might have to finish the rest of what I'm going to cook on tomorrow, because we stayed on this topic a little bit too long. Another topic I've been wanting to cook on, right, is since we here, let me cook on this whole Errol Spence and Terence Crawford situation, right? I know a lot of people wondering what's going down. Is the rematch going to happen? Then you got people, Errol Spence need to retire. Errol Spence don't need to go nowhere near Bud. But see, all of that shit don't matter. What really matters, right? The only thing that people are saying that matters, right? That the Stephen Espinosas and the Al Haymans, what they are listening to, what they care about, is people saying, we don't want to see no rematch. It ain't no reason for a rematch. What's going to happen at a different weight class? It don't matter what weight class. It's going to still be the same outcome. We don't want to see no rematch. We not paying for a rematch. That's what matters. Because does Errol Spence want a rematch? Of course Errol Spence wants the rematch. Will Terence Crawford give him the rematch? Of course Bud will give him the rematch at 154. He said it. No problem. But the thing is, the Showtime, Stephen Espinosa, Al Heyman, the guys that run the show, the ones that put the money up for the fight, do they want to put on an immediate rematch? And that answer is no. They don't want to put on a rematch right now. Is it because they don't think that Errol Spence can come and win? Nah. That's not their concern, right? These business heads, their concern is not if Errol Spence can beat Terence Crawford. That's not their concern. Their only concern is dollar. That's all they see is the dollars, right? That's all they see. That's what y'all got to understand. They only concerned about how much money can this event generate after everybody already saw the first fight. You feel me? They don't care if Terence Crawford win or if Errol Spence win, because in their eyes, they're looking at, we can make money off of Bud in his next fight. We can make money off of Errol Spence. We can make money all the way around the board. But can we make money putting on the rematch? When we listen to the people, are the people saying that they want to see a rematch? Or are the people saying, nah, I'm not going to pay for a rematch because we saw what happened in the first fight? And that's what the majority of people are saying. Ain't no need for a rematch. Also, what makes it a lot worse is they don't have a narrative to build on, right? Any big rematch, you always got a narrative. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, even though the second fight was a one-sided beating, people were willing to pay for a third fight because they had a narrative to build on. You had Glovegate. The second fight, right? The initial rematch, you had a draw. We can even go back to Floyd Mayweather and Marcos Maidana. First fight, close fight. Most of the Hispanic community, they felt that Floyd Mayweather lost that fight. They felt that Marcos Maidana got robbed, right? You had a narrative to build on. You see what I'm saying? You had a narrative. In this fight with Terence Crawford and Errol Spence, if Errol is not willing to come out and make no excuses, if he's not willing to come out and say, look, man, I want to break my silence and I want to let everybody know what happened during training camp, what happened leading up to the fight. And I'm not saying anything did happen. I'm just saying, right, if he's not willing to come out and make a narrative to sell the fight, Showtime, Steven Espinoza, and everybody that got to put the fight on, they're looking at that. They're looking at, how can we sell a fucking rematch? Errol Spence ain't saying nothing. But he doing his interviews, but he talking about fighting Canelo and Charlo and goddamn Gervonta Davis. He ain't even talking about fighting Errol Spence again. And then, if we do put on a rematch, if both fighters get up there and they hella respectful to each other, Errol Spence is praising Terence Crawford and how great of a fighter he is, and what the fuck are you going to sell? That's what they're looking at, right? What are they going to sell? So it doesn't matter if Errol Spence say, well, I want the rematch. I got a rematch clause. Put the rematch on. You know what they're going to say? Well, you know what? We don't have the budget for that right now. Or, well, we don't think it's in best interest for us to put that fight on, just right now. So what we want you to do this, and that, or we want you to go have another fight, and then we'll look into putting the fight on, right? That's how they move. It doesn't fucking matter what's in that goddamn contract. It is what it is. If they don't see that they can make money off of putting a rematch on, they're not finna do it. And that's where we at right now. You feel me? That's where we at. You know what I'm saying? We're not finna see no rematch in December. I guarantee y'all that. You feel me? We're not finna see no rematch in December. Unless Errol Spence sometime very soon come out and get to talking big shit, get to making excuses, what happened, and build some shit for people to want to see it, we're not finna see that rematch. Real talk. All that respectful shit, that ain't gonna work. It's not gonna sell this time because they did 650,000 pay-per-view buys, right? Y'all think they gonna even do that many pay-per-view buys with nothing to with no narrative? Errol Spence, he stayed at 147 too long. They got to fight at 154. That's not going to work. And I'm talking about for me. I want to see a rematch, right? I want to see the rematch. But I'm not speaking for me. I'm talking about the masses. And exactly, A1 Who's On. That's another thing. He says, buy the rematch. These motherfuckers didn't buy the first fight. You feel me? So now you expect to put on the same fight and for it to do better than what the first fight did when people were actually anticipating and waiting for the first fight for 5 years. People didn't know what was going to happen in this first fight. Whether you was a Bud Crawford fan or an Errol Spence fan, everybody was on the edge of their motherfucking seat when that bell rang. Everybody was. If you saying you wasn't, you not a real boxing fan. If you was an Errol Spence fan and saying that you wasn't nervous when that motherfucking bell rang, you're lying. If you're a Terence Crawford fan and saying that you didn't have no nerves when that bell rang for Bud, you're lying. Everybody, but now you don't get the same thing in a rematch. And like I said, you go out there shaking hands and Errol Spence is respectful and he ain't got nothing bad to say about Terence Crawford. Who wants to see that besides diehard boxing fans? A casual boxing fan ain't finna pay for that. They're not gonna pay for it. So Steven Espinoza, Al Heyman, and the guys that got to put on the event, they understand that, right? They understand like shit. Now, that's why when you hear them talk, if you listen to Steven Espinoza talk, they talking about what fights they got for Terence Crawford. When they talk about Errol Spence, the man is talking about, well, you know, we concerned, you know, we do have to see if Errol Spence is physically and mentally, you know, where he needs to be. You know, of course, you know, people are concerned and feel like that he needs to get checked out before he even thinks about getting the ring. This is the type of shit that Steven Espinoza said when he's talking about Errol Spence. But yeah, he does want the rematch. That's what he's saying. But on the other end, they're saying, well, you know, with Terence Crawford, you know, we got a lot of things for Terence Crawford. You know, we really would love a Jermell Ennis fight with Terence Crawford. We got the Jermell Charlo fight, depending on what happens between him and Canelo Alvarez. We got this and we got that. So we got to sit down with Terence Bud Crawford and his team, and we got to see what the next step is for him. Yeah, that's how they talking for Bud. So it's a whole different energy. It's all about the money. Knockout says niggas will buy Tank versus an MMA fighter before they'll buy Spence versus Crawford rematch. And that's a fact. It's a fact. It's just, you know, you got to be, when you speak on these situations, you got to be truthful about, you know, speaking on these situations. So, yeah, I don't, they're not going to, these promotional companies, they're not into putting on big pay-per-view events where they break even. And they definitely not into putting on big pay-per-view events where they lose money and they come out in the red. You see Bob Arum, he couldn't stop talking about all the money that he lost putting on events for Terence Crawford. But I'm going to tell you this about Bud Crawford right now, right? Bud Crawford will never be in that position to where he got to worry about selling the fight ever again. What Terence Bud Crawford did, the way that he promoted himself leading up to the Errol Spence fight, and especially how he's promoting himself now that he beat Errol Spence. If Bud Crawford had done this his whole career, Bud Crawford would be a household name. He wouldn't be a superstar. He'll be a household name. And what I mean by a household name is, if I go to my mama, she knew who Floyd Mayweather was. You feel me? She knew who Floyd Mayweather was. She knew who Mike Tyson was. She don't know who Tank Davis is. Tank Davis is a superstar. He's not a household name yet. You feel me? That's the difference. If Bud Crawford had been doing the things that he's doing now, as far as marketing and promoting himself, he would be a household name right now. But what he's doing, and it's something crazy, right? I'm gonna pull it up right now. Hold on, y'all. And y'all make sure that y'all hit my like button if y'all ain't smashed the like button. Bud Crawford went from 800 and something thousand Instagram followers. He had over 1.4 million, almost at 1.5 million now on IG. Just from this Errol Spence fight. So he doing a hell of a job marketing himself. You feel me? Boxing fans is about a lot of things in boxing now. is about what you do outside of the ring, right? Who can relate to you? Who know you? You feel what I'm saying? And then you got to understand that he was actually doing the same shit inside the ring that Gervonta Davis is doing. Knocking motherfuckers out. He doing it now. You know what I'm saying? He's doing it now. He doing a hell of a job marketing himself. He's doing it so much he get on my goddamn nerves. Because every time I wake up and I grab my phone, it's a new fucking interview popping up with Terence Crawford. And I'm like, man, I don't want to hear shit else that he got to say. God damn. But that's a great thing. Because when you do that, when you market yourself so much that people sick of seeing your face, that's when you know you're doing something right. And yeah, man, he doing a great job. Now, Keith Thurman, man, what the hell is going on with Keith Thurman? I know that people want to chop it up about this Jermell Charlo and Canelo Alvarez situation. People want to know what I got on Terence Bud Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, if that fight happened, or Bud and Jermell Charlo. I'm going to cook on all of that. You know, I ran out of time now. I'm going to cook on all of that tomorrow. I wasn't planning on coming on tomorrow, but I'm going to come on tomorrow so I can cook on all of that. I'm definitely going to cook on all of that. I got something I got to do now, so I got to wrap it up. But man, it was good. It was good kicking boxing with y'all. Even though didn't nobody come in here and support the channel and donate, I ain't even tripping. You know, it was good to come on here. And except for my man Steph, salute to my man Steph. He the only one that came in and you know, support the channel. And my man Speaks, my man Specs, my bad, my man Specs. He came in with the super chat refresher. But didn't nobody else, you know what I'm saying, donate to the channel, but I ain't even tripping. It was good to come in here and cook and talk boxing. But I'll come on tomorrow, and you know, it's a lot more that I want to cook on. It's a lot more I want to cook on. But yeah. So I appreciate everybody that came in here. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that hit the like button. Salute to everybody. And yeah, y'all already know what it is. Upper echelon, salute to you, my brother. And y'all know what it is, man. We will be back tomorrow, and I got a lot more to cook on. So hit the like button, and y'all already know how I do. There you go, talking that boxing again. And I'm gone, y'all. Appreciate y'all.